Alright, hopefully nobody honks outside my fucking building again. What's good, gamers? Bulldog941 here, back with another opinion-style video. In this one, I'm going to be talking about the Oblivion remake, remaster, something, whatever the fuck it is. Let's just get into it. I originally didn't want to play this. I've not exactly got the most, high opinion of Bethesda games, so I like Oblivion. It's still very flawed and has a lot of problems, and it's not the standard of quality that I originally thought it to be when I was younger, but, I like Oblivion. I don't like Bethesda. I figured since I'm already shelling out for Game Pass, which is the best deal for the consumer in gaming, I figured I'd give it a shot. I got all the way through the tutorial. The Emperor got nay-nayed. Walked out of the sewer. I looted a clam for a pearl, and then this shit happened. I reloaded the game, no change. I relaunched it. It lasted about 10 minutes in a good state, and then it went right back to being fucked. I looked around for a fix, tried recompiling my shaders, did a fresh install, and then I eventually saw that there was an update for my AMD driver, so I downloaded that. Now, it won't even launch on my PC. It just black screen infinite boots. So, fuck you, Unreal 5. Ligma fucking balls, dude. So, I resigned myself to not playing, which really sucked, because I didn't get in the Marathon Alpha either, and I wanted to make some content on either one. I eventually just sacked up and threw the money at it on PlayStation. Don't do what I did, kids. Be strong in your financial resolve. I'm weak and stupid. In any event, now I'll get to deal with this shit, all 30 of you that watch my non-Destiny videos anyway. So here are my initial thoughts on the Oblivion remake, remaster, whatever the fuck this is, because it's not just a graphical update. They changed mechanics and added shit, so I don't know why we're calling it a remaster when it clearly just fucking isn't just a remaster. Uriel Septim looks very Uncanny Valley in dialogue. Like, a lot of the, facial gen things that this game has are very funny monstrosities, but specifically Uriel Septim looks very weird. I don't know. Reign of the Septims fucks, and the opening cutscene when you start the game always gets me fucking pumped, no matter what, and that's the same as it was in the original game as well. That shit's a fucking masterpiece, and I just chills every fucking time. Chills. The funny seeing the symbol of the Dragonborn on the sewers that wasn't there in the original game. It was just a simple sewer grate. That's a Skyrim reference right there, guys. Whoa. I like the attempt at making character creation something a little bit more complex with the origins and shit. And, I like that it affects your stats too, but it's really nothing. Character creation in Oblivion is much more deep than it is in Skyrim, because you have to pick your majors and your minor skills and your birth sign and all that shit. So, as opposed to just picking your race and going. But sure, it's cool. It's another level of flexibility in the stats. It doesn't affect the gameplay. You don't get dialogue options different. It's fine. I like the new lines and the voice actors that they added. It's crazy what happens when you're not stuck to the launch of the Xbox 360, even if you missed that deadline anyway. And you're not limited by physical disk space, and patches aren't a nightmare to push out. It's crazy. It's almost like you can finish the game that you're working on when given time and resources. Wild. The step out moment is still amazing, even if it didn't work as intended, because, they tell you, when you leave the Imperial sewers, you can go in any direction you want to, and sure you can, if you ignore impending doom, and pretend that you didn't just watch the Emperor get assassinated. You could sure go anywhere you want, but, I like that the game has a help tab, since most of this is essentially unexplained. Now there's almost a glossary of sorts to show how things are supposed to work, and that's fucking sick. UESP pages are still the best resource for learning how things work, though, so. Attribute leveling is based on manual allocation, a la Fallout, instead of leveling a skill in order to earn the +5 for maximum efficiency. In the original Oblivion, certain skills were governed by certain attributes. Destruction and restoration were willpower, mysticism, alteration, and concentration were intelligence, endurance was heavy armor and armor, etc. In order to level up in Oblivion, you need to level your major skills a total of 10 times, and when you level, you can increase your attributes, which translates to base stat increases, like endurance is health, or you got regen, fatigue, magicka, etc. How much you increased your attributes by depended on which skills you leveled at that level. For example, if you took heavy armor as a major skill and leveled it 6 of the 10 times that level, you could choose to increase your endurance by 3 points that level, up to a maximum of 5 points if you leveled heavy armor the maximum amount of times. Here's the kicker. You don't get any further attribute increases if you hit the 10th major skill increase, and you can level by moving in Oblivion, like athletics and acrobatics. So say you were a regular person, unaware of how hostile this design structure is, and you picked major skills relevant to your playstyle when you created your character. You could potentially screw yourself out of being able to survive the difficulty curve of Oblivion, because endurance governs your max HP. Every time you level up, it goes up by your endurance stat divided by 10 rounded down. So, if I'm playing a pure mage, I don't care for armor in Oblivion since their spell effectiveness, so I'm not taking heavy armor. I'm also probably not taking armor, so I'm probably never leveling my endurance. So my HP goes up by like 3 every time I level up because like Bretons, their base endurance is 30. There is a point where the damage incoming from any enemy in the game will one-shot me, damage resistance or not. Since Oblivion uses pretty aggressive bracket scaling for the enemies you encounter as you level up, and that is just the attribute problem with leveling. Certain skills are unusable until you level them to a minimum threshold. Some skills take over 10,000 individual casts to level from the base to 100. At best, it takes you 32 IRL hours of swimming to master athletics without training or skill books. And that's just a movement skill. Since everything leveling-wise is based on actions performed, not the intensity or value of the action that matters. Now, as far as the remake is concerned, you can just manually apply attribute points, so you don't have to worry about maxing your endurance by using skills you don't give a shit about when you play the game. And that's fucking nice. Now, I don't know if they've decoupled quantity from quality yet. I have a feeling this chart is still the same considering how my leveling pace has slowed on certain things. But at the same time, alchemy seems to be like leveling 4 times as fast as it used to, and maybe that's based on value now. I have no idea. Restoration is still a slog to level. Destruction and Conjuration are still slogs to level. Mysticism, Alteration, all of them. I don't want to fucking macro train, so hopefully that isn't the case anymore. But I probably will end up doing so, except I'm playing on console, and I have the Atronach sign as my birth sign, so I can't macro level. So, yeah, that sucks. Oh well. Now, I do think that this is a better system. It's much less evil than the original one, but some of the flavor of Oblivion is lost with this change. It's the same solution that Bethesda has been doing in every single Elder Scrolls game since. If something didn't work right in the previous title, get rid of it for a watered-down version that has no personality. And now, like I said, it's a better solution than removing attributes entirely, which is what Skyrim did, but I don't like that changes like this come around every now and then. This is a fucking beautiful game. Like, I fuck you Unreal 5, but holy shit, this game is pretty. Every time I walked out of a dungeon, I was just hit with this incredible shot of, like, the skybox, or, like, the northern lights, or just the sun coming through the key lights, whatever it is. This game is fucking beautiful. So many moments I just sat there enjoying the view. It's incredible. And, like, wandering the countryside is just awesome. I might dislike Bethesda's writing decisions and the way that they've watered down their games to be as appealable as possible to as many people as possible, but like they do make a damn fine world to walk around in and just see. Just what's over the next ridge? What am I gonna see when I turn this corner? Melee combat is still sponges grinding against each other despite the new attack animations and combos. You still just spam the attack button again and again and again and again. Now there's a distinction between the different types of weapons now, so that's pretty cool. Like when you're a journeyman of blade, your power attacks make your opponent weak to normal weapons. Blunt has a self-protection buff that comes with your journeyman, and hand-to-hand damage from the beginning damages fatigue, making staggers easier. Like that's cool. Some extra depth is always nice. It's not enough to save it from the skeleton it's built on, but, you know, it's a good start. They actually put the bloated float out to sea during the quest there. Like, you can go onto the deck this time, and you just see endless water. It's pretty simple, but it's a nice change. Won't let me jump off, though, and that sucks. I don't like the way that Argonians look. They look less like lizard folk and more dragonborn, if that makes sense. Forgotten Realms, not Tamriel, obviously. Look, I could keep mentioning things that I've thought about as points of note, but honestly, I don't think that'd be any more interesting than what I'm doing now instead. It's Oblivion with a new coat of paint, and it's a little less hostile to the player. There's more voice work, there's some more dialogue lines that you hear, but it's still got the same exact problems that the original Oblivion had. On-rails story, Very poor pacing, very bad writing. It's the same story of Mehrunes Dagon's triumph over Cyrodiil. I mean, like, you can only do so much to change that, and honestly, I don't think they should have changed it. This is supposed to be Oblivion, not... We fixed the problems with Oblivion that we couldn't get to in time, you know what I mean? Like, it's Oblivion, again, for an audience that never experienced it, or for people like me that played the original and they're, you know, or they're old fucks and want to relive their, you know, memories of the game. It's nostalgia. It's the fourth Elder Scrolls game, but with Unreal 5, for better or worse. Do I think it's worth $50? No, I don't. Go play the original Oblivion. It's cheaper, runs better. Now, it's still an old Bethesda title, and it fucking crashes all the time, and you have to mod the fuck out of it to have a good experience half the time, and unofficial patch fixes, and all that shit, but do I think this is worth $50? It's a $50 coat of paint. I should not have spent my money on this. I'm gonna play it because, yeah, it's simple, and it's tickling my brain in the right ways, but I'm also not expecting it to be anything amazing. I'm not putting it up on a pedestal that a lot of people seem to be doing now. In any event, that's going to do it for me today. What do you guys think? Have you taken a look at the Oblivion remake, remaster, whatever the fuck yet? I'd love to hear anything that y'all are thinking about in those comments down below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Is there a problem, ma'am?